have their voices heard. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to Sister Sahil on the sister side and Brother Amin on the brother side. And if not myself, since I don't think Brother Amin is here tonight, but inshallah we hope to see all the youth tomorrow.
Muhammad wa Muhammad. Thank you, Brother Hussein, for the announcement. With that being said, so we have only one announcement. I will ask Haji Muallim Hamkar to come forward with the poetry and article for tonight's occasion. از محترم حاج معلم همکار خواهش میکنم که تشریف بیارن و معتبره که تهیه کردن به مناسبت امشب و سهم شما برسانند با صلوات بر محمد و علی بیت محمد.
شهادت جانگداز باب الهوایج آقا مسلم جعفر بجمیع مؤمنین خصوص ذات محترم تسلیت تعظیم نماییم. از خدای متعال خواهانیم که با برکت وجود زی آقا مؤمنین اتحاد و اتفاق و حس گانا پرستی عطا کنند و دشمنان اسلام به هر لباسی که هستند با حامیان خود اینا را نیست و نابود بگرداند. بر محمد و اهل بیت محمد صلوات. فلک ما اطرتهم خیر البشر لختی مدارا کن نگر بر گوشه زندان بغداد و تماشا کن رهاز کن و زنجیر جفا سلطان بطها کن شکسته بینیش گر استخوان پا مدارا کن بداوا کن که باشد منتظر معصومه تا بیند گل رویش گرش بینی ز غم افسرده و زار و حزین باشد رخش چون کهربا از زهر قوم مشرکین باشد روان از دیدگانش اشک حسرت بر جبین باشد به غربت مبتلا هر کس که شد حالش چنین باشد جهان در دیده شد تاریک سفید از غصه شد مویش تنی بینی اگر بر دوش حمالان بغداد است چو مرغی پر شکسته در قفس از ظلم صیاد است با پا زنجیر و غل در گردنشد جور شداد است امام هفتمین دان کو شفیع روز میعاد است که امید خلایق تا صف محشر بود سویش با آیاتشین انبه قرینه صدا میزد رضا را از مدینه مشورازی که من بی جرم و تقصیر سپارم جان بزیر کند و زنجیر رسان حال مرا با قلب افگار بگو با دخترم معصومه زار بگو باب تو اندر شهر بغداد بزیر کند و زنجیر هم جان داد بارا گو پیمبر که علی جان من است هم بجان علی و اسم محمد صلوات
خب با تشکر و سپاس فراوان از محترم حاج مادم همکار و از مطلبی که تهیه کرده بودن، سرسلامتی خودشان، فامیل محترمشان و شفای خانمشان، صلوات محمدی پسند ختم فرمایین عزیزم. اللهم صل علی محمد و آل محمد. Our second session has finished at this point. We will go over our regular announcements and we will have a Modares speech afterwards. First thing first, please see Brother Ziai Amili and make sure that your monthly donations are paid and up to date. And for whatever reason, if you're behind, please make sure to bring it up to date. With this inflation and the prices of everything going up, we need those donations to come in so we can serve these programs. With that being said, if you are attending Masjid al-Rasul's program for a while and you haven't been able to establish a monthly donations, please see Brother Ziai Amili and see how much you can afford. And based on how much you can afford, if you can pay those on a monthly basis or do it once a year, twice a year, that will be fine. But please make sure that it's been paid so we can pay for the utilities, for the maintenance of our masjid, and for the insurance that is going up every year, so we can pay for all of those. With that being said, Brother Ziai Amili also mentioned that your deadline, if you've donated funds or money to Masjid al-Rasul is a non-profit organization, so you can deduct those money from your taxes that you're filing for 2024 for last year. So if you would like to deduct those from your taxes, you need an official letter from Masjid al-Rasul to be able to deduct it from your taxes. Your deadline to request that letter from Brother Ziai Amili is February 1st. So please see Brother Ziai Amili tonight if you need it, so he can prepare it for you and bring it for you next week, inshallah. With that being said, also please be advised that Dua Nutbah is being recited in Masjid al-Rasul on Fridays. If you would like to participate in Dua Nutbah recitation, to listen to it or recite it, please make sure to be at Masjid al-Rasul on Fridays, half an hour before Namaz Jum'ah. This is the starting time. And with that being said, our Taha Islamic Academy will open tomorrow at 9:30. Please make sure to drop off your students 10 minutes before that time so the classes can begin timely. And again, one more time, this coming Sunday, we'll be celebrating Eid al-Mabas, inshallah, at 5:30. You'll receive the email for this special program tonight, inshallah, and make sure that you attend on Sunday, 5:30 p.m. at Masjid al-Rasul with Maghrib and Isha prayers, inshallah. With that being said, the title of tonight's speech that Modares will be covering is Mastering Anger, Spreading Generosity. That will be the title of tonight's speech program, inshallah. And now I respectfully welcome Modares to Munbar for speech and sakhandani, inshallah, with a salawat ala Muhammad wa alayhi Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. For the honor of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his immaculate progeny Ahlul Bayt, especially our seventh Imam, Bab al-Hawaij Musa ibn Ja'far al-Kadhim alayhi salam, recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. For the hastening of return and the return of Imam of our time, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to meet among his dedicated and sincere followers and inshallah waiters, recite the second salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين حبيب إله العالمين وخاتم النبيين العبد المؤيد المصطفى الأمجد المحمود الأحمد أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين الهداة المهديين سيما بقية الله في السماوات والأراضين. قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن الكريم وأطيعوا الله والرسول لعلكم ترحمون وسارعوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها السماوات والأرض أعدت للمتقين الذين ينفقون في السراء والضراء والكاظمين الغيظ والعافين عن الناس والله يحب المحسنين صدق الله العلي العظيم. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the love and the mahabbah of the Prophet and his family, by the mahabbah of Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, because Imam Musa ibn Ja'far is the one that take us to the complete message of the Ahlul Bayt. In order to be a 12er versus the Ismaili school of thought, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far and his imamat is that deciding factor. We are fortunate and blessed to have the mahabbah and the love of Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. May Allah help us to be steadfast on this mahabbah, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to follow the path, the message, the teachings of Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. 25th of Rajab is the anniversary of the Shahada and Martyrdom, our 7th Imam. At the age of 55, he was imprisoned for such a long time that there is difference of opinion among historians how long he was in prison, because it was so on and off that there is not a proper track of knowing how many years he was in prison. Some sources says 7 years, and we have all the way even to 14 years. And our Imam, when you look at his family that he grew up in, his mother is Hamida. May the peace and blessing of Allah be upon her, this noble lady, which we don't know a lot about Hamida, which is very unfortunate. In the household of Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam and his wife Hamida, Imam Musa ibn Ja'far was born in a village between Mecca and Medina, known as Abwa. This is the city where the mother of the Prophet is buried, Amina, salamun alayha. She was buried in this city, and we have that our Prophet used to go to this village to visit the grave of her mother and also stay there for a while. And our 7th Imam had been mentioned that Imam Ja'far al-Sadiq alayhi salam was also visiting this village with family, and our 7th Imam was born in this city. And his imamat is 35 years, is considered one of the long period of imamat in comparison with the rest of the Ahlul Bayt, like for example, Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam, which is very short, or Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, which is short. But that 35 years, which even we go based on the middle opinion, let's go average the different opinion on the years, that almost 10 years of that was in prison. And his era is the era of suppression of the message of Ahlul Bayt. We hear narrations from our fifth Imam and our sixth Imam, Imam Muhammad al-Baqir, Imam Jafar al-Sadiq, to some point that some people kind of took that as an opportunity to say that the Shiism started during their time, which is a confusion of itself. Before the time of these two Imams, which of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt had the chance and opportunity to educate people? Which one of them? So when the chance was granted, they took advantage of that opportunity. And when it comes to our seventh Imam alayhi salam, we see that Bani Abbas, it took a while for them to get a hold of how to govern, how to oppress. Even to be an oppressor, you need experience. To be cruel, you need experience as well. You heard this example that so much that is happening in our lives, good and bad, is gradual. Overnight changes are not usually sustainable changes overnight. Overnight, you believe in something, but change happens over time. There is an epiphany, there is a moment of realization, there is a moment that you decide, but the change doesn't happen right away. That suddenly you become a scholar of religion because suddenly I want to be religious. Suddenly I want to be an entrepreneur. Tomorrow you cannot be a business consultant giving advice to other people because you decided you want to pursue business. Same as with goodness, righteousness, taqwa, piety. It takes time. Consistency matters. If I ask you what's an evidence of that in the Quran, what ayah comes to your mind? That when we say consistency is important. It's a sign of true faith. That's things that they are impulsive are not sustainable. What's the proof of that in the Quran? Nowadays, of course, everybody talks about consistency, routines, right? We know about everybody is literally as the word of the mouth of many people. If I ask you for one verse that should come to your mind is in Surah Al-Mu'minun. Interestingly, it's about believers. How to become a mu'min, how to become a faithful person, Quran says. Allah started listing their qualities. قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ. Indeed, success, the true meaning of salvation and success is for the faithful, for the believers. What are the qualities that they have? الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. The way they pray, the attitude of them praying is that they have humility in their salat. They don't pray with arrogance. They don't think their prayers make them better than others. They don't think that their prayers somehow make Allah owe them something. They pray out of humility, khushu'. What other quality is? Bismillah, inshallah, you memorize some of these verses. وَهُمْ, again, الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. Among the qualities, عَنِ اللَّغْوِ مُعْرِضُونَ. They avoid or they stay away from lagh. Lagh meaning anything that is pointless, aimless, vain, empty, nonsense. So a mu'min has purpose. You don't see them waste their lives. They don't engage in constant lagh, constant nonsense, constant uselessness. And then among the qualities, ala furujim yuhafidhun. Their private lives and their modesty is something they guard. They don't treat their body like an animal. It's important to regulate your desires. So they guard it. It's not that they suppress it. It's not that they ignore it. They have structure for it. They protect it. They know that it's a gift from Allah. And then that quality that I ask you, how we know consistency is part of it. Then Quran, among the list that it said, "Ala الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ دَائِمُونَ." They do salat, they pray, but they are consistent. Da'im mean that their salat is not intermittent. Their prayers is not all over the place. They have dawam, da'im, consistency in it. So consistency is key. So Bani Abbas, that's how consistency came. At the beginning, they just came to power, they didn't know, but eventually they got a hold of it. You know, among the first thing they did, what they kind of started was, they started with Imam Ja'far as-Sadiq alayhi salam actually. Toward the end of the life of Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam was constantly summoned by the Abbasid ruler, to the point that they would drag him in the middle of the night. They don't even give him a chance to wear his abba or amama, bare feet sometimes, in order to prove the point that we are in charge, under false accusation that you have weapons in your house or things like that. And for Abbasid rulers, it became very clear that the Ahlul Bayt, even when they're being oppressed, when we don't give them the platform, when we don't give them the room to talk, still there is a place in the people's heart for them. There's this famous story that Harun came for Hajj, and he wanted to perform pilgrimage. And he has his soldiers with him. They tried to push people away. It was a Hajj season. Nobody cared. If you've been to Hajj, that's very normal. Everybody's trying to do their a'mal, follow their own routine and their own rituals. Regardless of how much they pushed around, it was very, very challenging. Suddenly, they noticed that people voluntarily, there's no bodyguard, there's no soldier, they created a pathway for someone to come. Respectfully, they stepped aside for this person to come and do Hajj. And that was very, very difficult for him to endure. That I'm the one in charge. I'm the one that, he used to say that if a bird fly from Baghdad, from where my capital is not going to land unless it will be under my rule. That's such a vast, territory I'm ruling over. And nobody cared. But for this, according to him, God forbid, we don't call him, to him and nobody, people are making pathways. Who is he? And it's been said that a poet created a poetry, that if you don't know who he is, this is the son of Muhammad al-Mustafa. This is family of the Prophet. If you don't know, this is who he is. Eventually they introduce him. This is Musa ibn Ja'far. This is the one that people have respect for. That created an extensive amount of jealousy, and at the same time, this unacceptable position of this person, that I am the one, the ruler, but people acknowledge his presence more than me. And that's why it's been said that he said, according to his words, that we are Imamul Jusum. We are the rulers and the leaders of people's bodies. We're in charge of them not going here and there. Whenever it's physical, we are the one in charge because we have the sword, we have the power, we have the army. And these people, referring to the Ahlul Bayt, hum imamul qulub. They're the one who rule over people's hearts. How can we stop that? Can we say, force people not to love someone? So it became clear that direct confrontation is not going to work out. Why? Yazid did it. And we see what happened to the entire Bani Umayyah after that. Maybe you can, but you make a martyr. Even in English they say, when you go after someone that people love, and even if you kill them, you make a martyr out of them, meaning you make a hero. You make someone that even will be loved more. So what's the solution? The solution is, let's remove him from the society. And how they did it with Imam Musa ibn Ja'far? Prison. But this will not last, because there were uproar, there were public protests against these decisions. So they will release the Imam and then take the Imam and then change him from one prison to another. But what is so important in the life of Imam alayhi salam, according to me? Of course, Allah knows there's so many merits, but the two that we should take away tonight. The first one is the title that we know him by, Al-Kadhim. By now, we should know the meaning of this title. His name is Musa. His name after the Prophet of Allah, Musa alayhi salam, Musa. The title is Al-Kadhim, the one who controls his anger, the one who swallows his anger, the one who mastered his anger. This is in the Quran. This title of Al-Kadhim is one of the qualities of muttaqeen, those who have taqwa, the virtuous. Quran says, وَأَطِيعُ اللَّهَ وَأَطِيعُ الرَّسُولِ أَطِيعُ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولِ. That's the ayah in Surah Al-Imran. That you have to obey Allah and obey the messenger. Why? If you are looking for the mercy of Allah. أَطِيعُ اللَّهَ وَالرَّسُولِ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. You may be granted His mercy. That's the way to get Allah's mercy. Obey Allah and the messenger. وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. You have to, this is one of the places that Quran says you have to haste. You have to speed up. You have to move quickly. Toward what? In everything, Allah said, be patient. Take your time. Do not rush. Ajul and being someone who is hasteful is not good. But here Allah said, وَسَارِعُوا. Speed up. إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ. It depends, what are you rushing for? Rush toward your Lord's forgiveness. Do not say, when I get 50, I'll do repent, inshallah. Then I go to Hajj. Once I graduate, once I have enough money in my 401. Once, do not postpone. Do not procrastinate. وَسَارِعُوا إِلَى مَغْفِرَةٍ. To the forgiveness of your Lord, do not delay. Speed up. To get the mercy of your Lord, to forgiveness of your Lord. وَجَنَّةٍ عَرْضُهَا السَّمَاوَاتُ وَالْأَرْضِ. Again, speed up to get to the paradise as vast as the heavens and the earth. Meaning that you don't want to live a life that ultimately you die without salvation. We don't want to be إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. We don't want to be in great loss. And what is the greater loss? Than somebody, God forbid, live a life that when we die, we know that we should forget about even getting the smell and the fragrance of heaven. There are words of the Prophet that said there are certain people that even they will not feel the smell of or the fragrance, the atr of heaven. The rih of heaven will not get to them. That's how far they are. It's a description. أُعِدَّتْ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. Who will get the forgiveness of Allah? Who will get to the heaven? Allah said all of this is prepared for those who have taqwa. If you're a God-fearing, if you're a God-conscious, if you're a pious human being, this is ready for you. I think now they call move and ready, right? It's a move and ready place for you if you have taqwa. Who are the muttaqeen? I talked about this. I'm not going to repeat it. Among the qualities that Quran says, that's why we say Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and we did Ziyarah Jami Kabira, Kalamukum Nur, that your words is light. وَأَمْرُكُمْ رُشْدٌ. What you say and teach is righteousness. You don't invite people to anyone beside Allah. The confusion many of us occurs to some of us is that why Ahlul Bayt? Why not God? Why not God? Right? Why not Ahlul Bayt? It's why not Allah? Why Ahlul Bayt? The answer to that is in the Quran. The ayah we just said, Ati'ullah wa anhu wa Rasul. That logic has a big loophole. If you just say Allah only, then why Prophet? Prophet is the messenger of Allah. Our answer, all Muslims' answer is why? Because Allah chose the Prophet. Because Allah gave him that authority. That's our understanding. Good. So don't go with the logic, if Allah is there, why we go to a human being? We go to a human being because Allah said so. I ask you as a Muslim, if a Muslim said, you know what? God forbid, again, this is a very, very bad hypothetical, but assume. If a Muslim said, you know what? I only want to get the guidance from Allah. Prophet, no, not from me, just Allah. Is this person considered Muslim? Why? Is only Allah? I acknowledge there's only one Allah, there's no one except Him. إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. I only worship Him and I only get help from Him. Now I don't want help from anyone except Him. Including the Prophet, I don't want His help. We know in our principle, regardless of the madhab and the school of thought, this person will be out of the fold of Islam. That's how important it is. To believe in the messenger, that human being, is that important. So for us, Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, in Ghadir, that was become clear that that's another decision made by Allah. You can argue about it, that's a different story. But you can't bring logic. It doesn't make any logical sense. We go through Ahlul Bayt because Allah said to His Prophet, Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayki min rabbik. Under this ayah, we have Ahlul Sunnah scholars who say this ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah was revealed in the story of Ghadir. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud is the one who's narrating that said after the revelation of this ayah and after Ghadir, this is how we would recite this ayah. Ya ayyuhar Rasul, balligh ma unzila ilayki min rabbik, anna aliyan waliyullah. We will recite it that way. Because it was clear to us that that was what Allah asked him to say. Alusi is the scholar, is a very, very prominent Ahlul Sunnah scholar, that under this ayah narrates this hadith from Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. You can debate on the matter, Bismillah. That's a different topic. Everybody is, again, have their own, they're entitled to choose their path. But to say, you know, it doesn't make sense. And common sense does not have a place in theology. Logic has a place. Mantiq has a place. But it doesn't make sense to me. What is our make sense? To the kuffar, it didn't make sense to let their slaves go and become believers. It doesn't make sense to the pagans of Mecca to abandon the ways of their forefathers. Make sense is something that changes all the time. Do you think it makes sense to the Quraysh to listen to the Prophet? It didn't. So, when we are reciting the ziyarah, among the words that we say, we refer to them as the one that not only they are teaching the Quran, they are the one that they live Quran. Why they live Quran? Because if you have a book which is very idealistic like Quran, it says this is the muttaqeen. And anyone else who comes, you say, you know what, Quran says this is the taqwa. I don't have all of it. Don't expect me to be perfect. I'm going to do some of it, I'm going to make mistakes some of it. When it comes to our understanding, the Prophet wasn't like that. And as I said, there are people that they don't believe in the isma and the infallibility of the Prophet. So Prophet made mistakes. Shia of Ahlul Bayt, 12 are Shia, by the way. Among the principles we believe in is isma, infallibility. We believe our Prophet was infallible. Meaning that he is someone appointed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone has to live up to the code that he's teaching. Otherwise, what are we doing? If the one who brought the message doesn't uphold the teaching, who is going to? Who is going to uphold the teaching? It's a disaster to even think about it. Oh, it's a realistic religion. We're human. Yes, it's a realistic religion. But this realistic religion also thinks about the wisdom behind revelation. What's the point of revelation? If you are going to make it all human, oh, it's a human being, they figure out things. They make mistakes and all that. What was the point of revelation? Let them figure out. No revelation. They're going to make mistake, trial and error. They're going to do so many big mistakes. Eventually, they learn what to do. But Allah didn't do it. So you know what? Ya Nuh, go to people. Oh, Ibrahim, go to people. One by one, according to our narration, 124,000 of these prophets of God, they went to people to say, this is what Allah told me to tell you. They were chosen one. Inna Allah astafa Adam. Allah chose. Istafa means chosen. To be chosen, you need qualities. You cannot be someone that do whatever like everyone else. No. You have something in you that you were chosen. You were gifted this blessing because you could have endured it. Allah gave you that gift. The Ahlul Bayt are the one who uphold it. So this ayah we just recited. When we say Ali ibn Abi Talib is Imam al-Muttaqin, he is the leader of the righteous. The same is applied to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. So the title was two things, right? What was the title? Mastering anger. Why? Because in this ayah Allah described the one who has taqwa. Let's keep the general description and then let's make it a real human being description. The vague description of it in the Quran is الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ. A pious, a God-fearing human being is the one who spend, they donate, they give in the way of Allah in the time of ease and at the time of adversity. When everything is going well, they're generous. When things are not going well and hard, they're still generous. They give. That's quality number one. And that was the second part of the title. What was the second part of the title? Those who remember? Mastering anger. And then when we talk about leading in generosity. Talking about generosity. So the first quality that Quran talks about the muttaqin is what quality? Being generous. To give at the time of ease and at the time of hardship. Let's talk about the human being's example of this, taqwa. We can talk about multiple people. We can talk about any of the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, about their giving. We can talk about the Prophet. We can talk about some of the ashab of the Prophet. We can talk about them. But because it's the commemoration of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, let's just zoom on his life. Who is Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam? The one that Shia and Sunni knows him by his bags of money. To the point that the bags of his money for helping, donating, giving become a saying in Arab. Surah of Musa ibn Ja'far. The bags that Musa ibn Ja'far will give. This is the statement we have in history about him. Recite a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Again, become a darbul mathal, an example in Arab. What was it? They said, إذا جاءت الإنسان الصرة فقد استغنى. When a human being would have get the bag of money from who? Surah Musa ibn Ja'far. The bag of money that Musa ibn Ja'far will give, that person become ghani. They become fulfilled. You will not see them become poor again. The barakah, the blessings of that just bag of money. Who is he? He's the the one who's being thrown into prison, on and off. Who can have harder than him? If you're someone that you cannot see your children, you cannot see your Shia, I promise you, the last thing we will think about is, okay, giving help to people. I've heard people, even nowadays, we talk about families. I said on social media, this content is becoming more and more. When I see how popular they become and viral, it scares me. And this is this motto, this lesson. You should look after yourself. Okay, it's not a bad thing. Until this point, it's okay. Then they go further. Not even family is going to be there for you. It doesn't matter. You have to look after yourself. Even the one that you help, one day they're not going to come and say thank you. This selfish mindset is being pushed. And people who did probably something for someone and they expected something in return, they say, yeah, they're right. I did help someone and I never get anything in return. But Quran here says, if you want the Jannah, that's what you're looking for. If you're looking for forgiveness of Allah, if you're looking for that fulfillment in life, then you have to be generous, not for people to thank you. When you're generous, you're achieving something with being generous that no one can give you. Allah will give you. Khatib al-Baghdadi is an Ahlul Sunnah scholar. Khatib al-Baghdadi is also a historian as well. He mentioned that we will go to the grave and the ziyarat of Musa ibn Ja'far. Whenever I had a hajat, whenever I was in trouble, I needed something, I will go to the grave of Musa ibn Ja'far. There is a door when you go to Kadhim in Baghdad. That area, the majority is not a Shia populated area. There is a gate, an entrance called Babul Murad, which is the gate, Murad meaning what you're seeking, your hajat, your demand. And people call it because when people go, and a lot of them are not even Shia, when they go through that door, they know that this person is the wasila before Allah. Is Bab al-Hawa'ij, is a door of needs of people toward Allah. When you give for the sake of Allah, that's how Allah rewards you. That even if you're not physically there, still the place that you're buried becomes the source of khayr. Just get it. That Kadhimain was an honorable place, not only by Shia but by Ahlul Sunnah. Not only was, is. A lot of Sunnis of Iraq still go to Kadhimain. So quality number one is generosity that Quran described. And Musa ibn Ja'far is all over the place. Hundreds of stories. I wish we had the time to just talk about some of them. That no one will knock at the door of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far and leave empty-handed. They will know that there's a bag of money. If somebody would come and say, I have debt, not only they will get the debt, but also get some money to start a business. And I mentioned the story that when Imam Rida alayhi salam received a letter from Imam al-Jawad received a letter from his father, Imam al-Rida. Imam al-Jawad is in Medina, Imam al-Rida was in Khurasan. Look, this is how the Ahlul Bayt, they follow the same path. So we say Imam al-Kadhim was generous, was Kareem, was honorable and noble. Look at his son, Imam al-Rida. He writes a letter. Again, he is already being forced to leave his family from Medina. He's in Khurasan. He is now in Khurasan dealing with Ma'mun. To many degrees, he is kind of under constant surveillance. He's even sometimes house arrest. He still makes time to write letter to Imam al-Jawad all the way to Medina. And what he says in the letter, my son, I heard that there are people around you. There's some companions, some relatives, someone that they're telling you not to leave the house from the front door because people who need something, they come to you and they overwhelm, basically. That they take you from the back door. My son, O Jawad, O Muhammad al-Jawad, leave the door from the front of the house, but take something with you that anybody asks you for help, you give him something. This is the generosity. So you say, okay, are we expecting us to do the same? The word of Imam Ali alayhi salam that he said, I don't expect you to live like us. You can't live like us. Do you think we can do the worship of Ahlul Bayt? Can we? Can we do the dua of Imam Zain al-Abidin, hundreds and hundreds of rak'ah of salat every single night? Can we recite Quran, Khatmul Quran every 3 days? Imam Rida alayhi salam been mentioned that he would do Khatmul Quran every 3 days. And the reason it took him 3 days is because he would reflect. If it was just reading, he would have finished it faster. We can't. We have our own limitations. So Imam said, that's not what I expect you to do. But what I expect is to have some resemblance of the Ahlul Bayt. If the Imam is leading, and let's say if he's a few miles ahead of us, at least I'm on the same direction. I'm not going the opposite direction. That's the bare minimum. If I can be the one who is that generous, then don't let anyone empty-handed. The least we can do is that to watch after the family members. Watch after someone that I know. The least that I can do is if I cannot help, I do not insult them because they ask me for help. That's the least I can do. So this is who the muttaqin are. What's the second quality Quran says? وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ. The one who suppress, control, manage, master their anger. This is a mu'min. Again, his title is Al-Kadhim. I don't have to repeat why his title is Al-Kadhim. And lastly, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. A mu'min is someone that excused the faults of people. When somebody apologizes, they accept the apology. When you look at the Shias of Ahlul Bayt, how many of them, they were not followers of Ahlul Bayt? Some of them were opposition. But through a proper, وَالْكَاظِمِينَ الْغَيْظِ, Ahlul Bayt are not going to let the anger take the best of their judgment. How many of these people not only join the Ahlul Bayt, they become prominent students of Ahlul Bayt. You've heard probably references of Hisham ibn Hakam from me. Hisham was not a Shia at the beginning. Hisham, a prominent student of Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam. You see his name, you see his ahadith. At the beginning, he didn't believe in Ahlul Bayt as the Ahlul Bayt, as the Imam. His uncle told him, said, you went to this teacher, you went to that scholar, none of them were able to answer your question. There is one that we go to, come. He was very hesitant, he wasn't a skeptic. Eventually accepted to come. And Imam alayhi salam talked to him. And it wasn't one of those things you think, you know what? Imam just told him and he took it. No, after asking multiple questions, he said, give me some time to think about this. He told Imam as-Sadiq alayhi salam, I got your answer, but let me think. Imam said, go, take your time. And that was a shock to him. Because any other debate they had, they would use that as an opportunity to say, see, you have nothing to say. You were this. It became a show. And for the Imam said, no. Guidance is in the hand of Allah. We give you the answers, go. He had these meetings multiple times. Some says up to 3 times. That eventually, he said, now I believe. And then he was one of those who did not abandon. Oh, I find the right source, I find the right teacher, a right Imam, I'm here. To the point that Imam alayhi salam would say, Hisham, you go to this place. He will say, this companion, you cannot be a good debater. If you want a debater, take Hisham with you. And he became infamous for his abilities, his mastership of debate and the knowledge. That even when he would leave Medina, go to other cities, and I mentioned back then there was no social media to know someone. You would just hear the name of this man. From one city to another, oh, there is a student by this name, he's very smart, he's very intelligent. And when he would go somewhere and even start the word without introducing himself, the moment he start articulating his argument, he said, oh, this is Hisham. This is وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. If Ahlul Bayt, and I'm grateful to Allah that Allah did not leave things to us. If it was up to us, we would have literally have a TSA of our own at the masjid door. Oh, you can't come, you go. You doesn't look right. You doesn't talk the way I like. Your attitude is not the right attitude. The number of people would have rejected Allah knew. Because they didn't say what we like. And we're not talking about principles. We're talking about details that they're not that important. We're very picky about it. We don't let go. You told me this, we are against each other. We will never be on the same side again. And Quran says, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. The one who has taqwa is a forgiving person. And these are who the Ahlul Bayt are. I ask you, imagine Hur, God forbid. If somebody did something, what Hur did, 100 of that, not as bad as what he did. I personally would have forgiven him. That you were the one who caused all this. You stopped us, you didn't let us get away, you led us to this point, you did all of that. Now, you were the one that we gave our excess water to. Because they had water for the long journey. Why did they become thirsty suddenly? Because all the water, excess water, they shared with Hur and his army. We will let go? Inshallah, yes. Hopefully, yes. Hopefully we hear the story of Hur and say, Ya Allah, my master is Hussein, I should learn from him. This person is not worse than Hur. I should be able to let go. And that's Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam way. And that should be our way. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen. And Allah loves those who are virtuous, those who do good. Allah loves them. If Musa ibn Ja'far is known as the title of Bab al-Hawa'ij, is because of this. Allah loves those who do ihsan. If Musa ibn Ja'far is the one who gives in the way of Allah, Allah is not going to let that name to be forgotten. Do you think how much money was spent to eradicate, to make the name of Musa ibn Ja'far to be forgotten? Who's out there to keep his name alive? I'd ask you. Who's doing the investment to keep his name alive? They demolished the graves of Ahlul Bayt. They're not building, they demolished them. Mutawakkil Abbasi ordered to destroy it. Imam Musa and Ja'far, forget about, when actually his ziyarah actually happened. Imam al-Hussein's ziyarah happened from a young time, from an early time. Bani Umayyah, we know, they're not going to let anybody go to Karbala. They're the one who caused it. Mutawakkil Abbasi, the one who said, we are going to be defenders of Ahlul Bayt, he said that people who go to the ziyarah of Ahlul Bayt are the one who are opposition against the Abbasid. They don't like what they see. They compare Bani Abbas with Yazid and Bani Umayyah. Say, you're the same. So what he did? Destroy the grave of Abu Abdullah Hussein. They changed the direction of water to his grave. So start a farming. I don't want this grave even to have any sign from it in existence. But Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen. Allah loves those who do good. If Allah wants something to survive, it will survive. Let me be clear. You can be famous. You can get the likes. You can get the praise. But they have a specific amount of time. But if Allah wants something to last, there are stories that we know, there are names that we know, that they never had a fan page, they never paid a publicist to do something for them. But Allah wants their name to survive. Wallahu yuhibbul muhsineen. So inshallah, on this night of the Shahada of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, let's ask ourselves on these two merits. There's so many merits, but these two merits. Number one, يُنْفِقُونَ فِي السَّرَّاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ, to spend in the way of Allah at the time of ease or hardship. To live it is Musa ibn Ja'far himself. And to spend is not only to spend money in the way of Allah. Sometimes you spend your life in the way of Allah. Your time in the way of Allah. Sometimes you spend what you love in the way of Allah. And sometimes what we love, it could be things like our ego. Sometimes we like our pride more than anything. But you do it for the sake of Allah. And secondly, anger. Why? Because anger undermines all the good we do. We can do all the generosity, but the moment we get angry, there are stories that, you take care of an orphan, you provide a shelter for them, you sponsor their education, and one day they say something, they're angry, they're frustrated, they hear something, they misjudge you, and they say something. And one moment of anger is enough to destroy all the goods you accomplish. Words, unfortunately, have that impact. All of us, somehow, we suffered, we were victim, and also, I promise, all of us in some form, we were perpetrators. We said something that hurt people. I remember a story a long time ago. That's why I said we misjudge people from outside. It was this father, an old man who was retired at that time. But this man was a businessman before he retired. And the way he retired wasn't the official retirement. He decided, you know what, I did enough. Physically, I can't do this. So he gave everything to the children and to family. And I saw him one day. You can see from his face, there's this sadness. There's this grief with him. Sitting in a corner. I knew him, so I approached him. He was used to be, and before he got retired, you can see he was very energetic. He was very, mashallah, one of those, we call them, in their own way, making small jokes here and there. They tried to do idkhalus surur. They wanted to make other people also share the happiness with them. But suddenly, he's not the same person. First week, second week, eventually I approach him. Say, everything is okay? Say, I don't want to say something bad about my children. I said, don't. How's everything with you? Longer story short. But he says that, alhamdulillah, my children are very grateful. They got me my own place for my family, for my wife and I. They come and check on us. They make sure we have everything we need. They take us to our doctor's appointment, everything. But one day, a conversation happened between me and my son. And he got angry. And he said something from that day that no matter what he does, it's something that stays in my heart. It's something that bothers me. He said something in line that, that you are useless or you're pointless or you're just a burden. And later on, he came and apologized. But because he was angry that day, I don't know, he had a fight in his house with his spouse, or it could be a fight, with the customer or something. He came and he vented, and I was the one who faced him. He apologized. So I told him this ayah at that time. So yeah, that's something that people should manage, but remember, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Your son did something, they apologized. These things that you forgive but don't forget is up to you. You can think of this every single day, or you can tell yourself, Ya Allah, I want your mercy, I'm going to be merciful. My son made a mistake, my daughter made a mistake, I'm going to let go. Otherwise, how can I expect you to let go of my things? So the beauty of the Quran is a cause and effect. Be generous, master your anger, and وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Once you control the anger, do not hold on to it. Do not make it into a grudge. Do not make it into a grudge, a hatred, and animosity within you. Rather, وَالْعَافِينَ عَنِ النَّاسِ. Af means let go. Forgive. Accept the excuses. You know how our deen is ambitious. Said a mu'min not only have to accept apology, ambition should be, if somebody does not have an excuse, make one for them. You've heard that from me, right? We have narration. If somebody come and they don't have an excuse, create an excuse for them. What are we doing? I'm talking to myself again. Alhamdulillah, all of you, inshallah, at least don't do it to my level. I'm doing sometimes the worst of the worst, is that we try to become the detective. What are we doing? We're dissecting the excuse. So you're telling me because of the fire, you were not able. I know your house is here and this, and you try to make this entire house of, the excuse fall apart. Allah knows that sometimes the best thing is not to know. Let's assume you make someone a liar. Then what? What magic do you think is going to happen? Somebody said an excuse, I'm so sorry. I was late, I was stuck in traffic. Okay, don't worry about it, inshallah. Next time maybe we can plan better and maybe we can do something about it. But let's say if I'm going to open up, dissect it, let's dissect it together. And the conclusion is, you were not stuck in traffic. Then what do you think is going to happen? Because we should think about that. Okay, you come and you prove that they were not stuck in traffic. That moment to humiliate them, who ever responded well to humiliation? Who? You insult someone, you humiliate someone, you're not going to be able to do anything with them. The truth is, the way of the Ahlul Bayt, the way of our Prophet was not to humiliate people. Even their enemies, they will not humiliate. Battle of Jamal, they did so much atrocities against Imam Ali and his followers. Jamal, you have to read about it, what they've done. Imam Ali tried to avoid the battle, send messengers, send Ibn Abbas, a neutral person. He tried everything. He tried to send a messenger, a reciter of Quran to say, don't fight. What did I do? You gave me your allegiance. You chose me. What's going on? They said, no, only sword. They killed the reciter of the Quran. So the atrocities was no limit to it. But once they were defeated, among these people are women, because unfortunately among the people, Jamal, the camel, is Prophet's wife. And there are other women in this battle too. So what are these women doing? Now they're, of course, being returned to Medina. There's a calamity of his own that Muslims face according to their standard, their Khalifa. He was the Khalifa of the time. It's a calamity of his own. So now these women, they are cursing the soldiers of Imam Ali, the companions of Imam Ali. They're disrespecting. What Imam Ali told them? Imam said, do not answer them. They are grieving. They lost loved one. It's again, that's the emotions in them. Whatever they say, let them. This is the Imam's way of even considering the emotion of the one who just fought against him. This is the path of Ahlul Bayt. That should be our North Star. If it can be that high and mighty and merits and qualities, the least is if somebody said apology, please forgive me, let it go. For the sake of Allah, let it go. Otherwise, we will have I promise you, all of us, we will have a very difficult first night of grief. We will have a very difficult hisab and reckoning. Because usually it's been said that the hisab of everyone is according to the way they were. If you were in your hisab that difficult, that's the way you will be. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the tawfiq of following the message of Allah, Quran, follow the message of the one that Allah called him Muallim, Mufassir, the teacher, the one who taught us to understand Quran well, which is the Prophet. And those who are tarajim, those who are preservers of this message, those who protect the true interpretation of the Quran, which are the Ahlul Bayt. May Allah help us to be on the path of Quran and Ahlul Bayt as Prophet asked us to be, with the salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. When we are reciting musibah, when we are doing what is known as the crying, I always say these tears for us is a different type of tears when we are sad. Because when we lose a loved one, we cry. That's a sadness. And it's normal. But these tears, when we talk about the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, should be the tears of love, not only sadness. These tears are the one who teaches us that we should cry for matters that is not just personal to us. Because when you lose a loved one, that was my father, that was my mother, it was someone to me. They did a lot of things for me. And for Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, they did something for all humanity. And to think about that the hujjat of Allah, the one that Allah said, He is going to take you to the right path. He's the Imam that will take you toward ilal huda, toward guidance. People are deprived from accessing Him because He's in prison. That's sad. That unworthy people ruled over Muslims. Even now is sad. I promise you, it's a cause and effect. We try to ignore it, but history does not just happen out of the blue. The system of Bani Abbas and then all these systems lead us to this point. We saw what's going on in Gaza, what is left of Gaza, and we are, their leadership in the Muslim Ummah, that they're celebrating this after more than 400 days. What they did, stop killing. That's all they did. Just stop killing. And those who could have been in the position that they will never tolerate injustice. Out of the 12 Imams, one of them got the chance to have power, to be the ruler, is Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, yes, he became, but never, his army betrayed him at the beginning. But the one who actually got some time to rule is Ali alayhi salam. And look at him, he never negotiated with the oppressor. Not even once. He did not tolerate injustice even from his own family member. He never let a lifestyle of kings become the lifestyle of a Muslim leader. His way of life was there. And just look at the others who came to power and just be the judge of it yourself. And imagine what kind of a different leadership we would have had. There's a lot of ifs, a lot of could have, but it's a very, very sad moment. The leadership we see, is it more similar to Ali alayhi salam? Is it more similar to the Muawiyah? I ask you. Which one? The leadership you see, the one in charge. The lifestyles is a resemblance of which one? The soccer players who got a championship, they get phones who are made out of gold. Because you came and played in our country, your championship. And there are those who are dying out of hunger nowadays. This is not an individual donating. This is the one in charge donating, giving that money. The resemblance of Imam Musa ibn Jafar to his grandfather, great-grandfather Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, is that Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam body was abandoned in the land of Karbala. They did not bury him. Again, another sad moment. The master of the youth of paradise The one that Prophet carried him on his shoulder, and whenever he had a chance, he would say, Ahabballah man ahabba Husayna. The one who loves Allah will love Hussein. The bodies of their own dead was buried, of the Umar ibn Sa'd army. But the bodies of Shuhada Karbala, including Imam al-Hussein, was abandoned. When Imam Musa al-Jafar's body also was abandoned for 3 days. They did not inform people. And what happened to that final prison? Because as I said, he would switch multiple prisons. One of the reasons they switched the prison was because of what? Because all of these prisoners, they tried to anger him, but they didn't succeed. They didn't. They failed. No matter whatever they tried, they couldn't break him. And when they were ordered to poison him or to make it tough on him, they would say, we can't. You can kill us, but we can't. So they would transfer him from one prison to another. The last prison, the jailer was not a Muslim. Others were Muslim to some degree. This one was not even Muslim. And he had some hatred. But no matter the akhlaq of the Imam, the treatment of the Imam, there's no ounce of mercy in his life. To the point that Imam Musa al-Jafar, at the beginning, when he was thrown into jail, he looked at it as a gift from Allah. He would not complain. He said, Ya Allah, thank you. You gave me solitude to focus only on you. Now I have more time to spend with you. But on that last prison, this torture, this constant agony come to the point that said, Ya Allah, I'm translating the word he said, Imam alayhi salam. Oh, the one that you saved Yusuf alayhi salam from the darkness of the well. Oh, the one that you saved the seed who's in the depth of the darkness of the ground, and you save it to help it grow. Said all this, Ya Allah, save me from this prison. Assalamu alayka ya Abul Hasan ya Musa ibn Ja'far. أيها الكاظم يا ابن رسول الله يا حجة الله على خلقه يا سيدنا ومولانا إنا توجهنا واستشفعنا وتوسلنا بك إلى الله وقدمناك بين يدي حاجاتنا يا وجيها عند الله اشفع لنا يا وجيها. We have that after the shahad of the Imam, they abandoned his body, and some says in some sources on the bridge of one of the bridges of Baghdad. And the Shias, they were informed, they saw the body of the Imam alayhi salam. The body that when they start carrying, they saw it so heavy, although when they look at the body is so frail. There is no much, again, there's not much muscle left in this body. That this body has went through a lot of hardship. But why the body is so heavy, when they place down and they look at it, they saw all the shackles, all the chains are still on the body of Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. And we have at the time when Imam Rida alayhi salam was in Medina, Hazrat Ma'asuma was in Medina. But the Shias of Baghdad made sure that the body of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far is going to be carried respectfully. So many people gathered and respectfully they buried the body of Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam. And we have how Fatima Ma'asuma was informed of the shahada of her father. We have that she looked at her brother Imam Rida alayhi salam grieving, and from the grieving of her brother she noticed that this is the news of the shahada of her father. But we have that the Ahlul Bayt said, La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah, no calamity is like the musibah of Imam al-Hussein. The way Musa ibn Ja'far's daughter was informed was from a distance. He was in one city and the daughter was in Medina. And from the grieving brother she was informed. But the daughter of Imam al-Hussein in the day of Ashura, we have that they forced him to go through the Qatligah. They forced him to walk through the place of the Shahada of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And one by one they saw the body of Imam al-Hussein on the ground. And this is where Zainab said, Ya Rasulallah wa Muhammadan. صلى عليك مليك الزمان هذا حسينك مرمل بالدماء. O Rasulullah, be peace be upon you. The angels of Allah send blessing upon you. Be witness that this body covered is in blood. This dismembered body on the ground is your beloved Hussein. من که بی جرم و گناهم گشت زندان قتلگاهم خواهم مردم از خدایم دیدن روی رضایم خورده ام بس تازیانه گشته ام سیر از زمانه. چه ظلمی کرد سندی ابن شاهک ملعون بر امام موسی بن جعفر علیه السلام که او لحظات آخر از خدا طلب رهایی کرد. بدن نحیف آقا موسی بن جعفر را روی داریم که روی تابوت نگذاشتن، روی یک پله در گذاشتن بدن آقا موسی بن جعفر رو. کالعرش یحمل فوق اربع حامل كالعرش يحمل فوق أربع حامل نور إله رآه ذو أبصاری. بدن رو داریم 4 نفر آوردن کارگر حمل کردن. وقتی شیعیان خبردار شدن بدن موسی بن جعفر رو جمع شدن از روی پل جسر بغداد روی شانه گرفتن. این بدنی که هنوز قل و زنجیر بر این بدنه، جای تازیانه و شکنجه بر بدن موسی بن جعفر. آقا علی ابن موسی رضا در مدینه خبر شهادت رو رساندن، عزا گرفتن برای آقا موسی بن جعفر. اما شیعیان برای آقا موسی بن جعفر دور هم جمع شدن، محترمانه بدن موسی بن جعفر رو دفن کردن. بدن رو داخل خاک گذاشتن، با احترام دفن کردن. او بدنی که 3 شبانه روز دفن نشده بود. اما جناب سوزه برا غریبی جدش حسین، او بدنی که حالا بعضی از مقاتل نوشتن وقتی که همه رو به شهادت رساندن، سرها رو از بدنها جدا کردن، دستور داد عمر ابن سعد اسبها رو نعل تازه بزنید، این بدنها رو با اسب براشون بتازید. داریم که جمع شدن افرادی که از هر قبیله‌ای بودن، گفتن ما نمیگذاریم این مثلا بدن حبیب ابن مظاهر است، این از قبیله ماست، ما نمیگذاریم. بدن حر رو نگذاشتن، هر کسی آمد نگذاشت. اما بدن مظلوم فاطمه زهرا پسرش روی زمین کسی نبود. اسبها رو آوردن بر بدن ابا عبدالله، در مقابل چشمان امام سجاد، در مقابل چشمان زینب داغ دلشون تازه شد. این بدن ها سینه داریم که در بعضی از مقتل ها سلامی که به امام حسین گفته شده است، سلام بر اون سینه ای که زیر سم اسبا شکسته شد. و علی لعنت الله على القوم الظالمين وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. Ya Allah, by the honor of Bab al-Hawa'ij, Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salam, hasten the return of Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asr wa Zaman. Ya Allah, by the honor of Musa and Ja'far alayhi salam, bring an end to the dhulm, to the injustice and the suffering of all the madloom around the world, especially madloomin of Afghanistan, madloomin of Gaza and Palestine, Lebanon, anywhere there is a madloom in the world that they are calling for istighath and help from Allah. Ya Allah, grant them immediate relief, grant them strength, and ultimately bring ultimate true victory, which is the coming of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wa Zaman. Ya Allah, bless the soul of all of our marhumin, all the mu'mineen and mu'minat, and Ya Allah, guide us to the right path, the path of Islam, the path of Quran and Ahlul Bayt. And Ya Allah, in this dunya, grant us the ziyarat of the Ahlul Bayt, the ma'rifah, the recognition of their status and authority, and the qiyamah. Ya Allah, resurrect us to be with the Prophet and his family, and Ya Allah, grant us their intercession and shafa'ah. And Ya Allah, all those who are mareed, those who are in need of our du'as, those who are sick and requested du'a, Ya Allah, grant them again once, grant them strength of iman, patience and resilience, and ultimately, Ya Allah, grant them shifa, remedy and healing, Ya Allah. اللهم اغفر لنا ولوالدينا ولوالدي والدينا ولمن له حق علينا ولجميع المؤمنين والمؤمنات بالنبي وآله. الفاتحة مع الصلوات. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. Inshallah, we finish with Azadari. Everybody, inshallah, stand up. We will finish with Azadari. JazakAllah khayr. Try to come forward so we can, inshallah, start this as soon as possible. For the honor of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far, Imam al-Kadhim, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بالمحمد وأهل بيت محمد صلوات. فلك بانت رتي خير البشر لختي مداركم. فلك بانت رتي خير البشر لختي مداركم. نگر برگو شی زنده نه بغداد و تماشا کن. فلک باید رت خیر البشر لختی مدارا کن. فلک باید رت خیر البشر لختی مدارا کن. رهاز کن ز زنجیر جفا سلطان بتا کن. شکست بی اشگروز تو خانه پا مداوا کن. که باشد منتظر معصوم تا بیند گل رویش. فلک باید رت خیر البشر لختی مدار. فلک باید رت خیر البشر گرش بینی ز غم افسار دوازدارا از این باشد. رخش چون کا ربا از زار قوم مشرکین باشد. روان از دیدگانش عشق که حسرت بر جبین باشد. به غربت مبتلا هر کس که شد حالش چنین باشد. جهان دردی دشد تاریک سپید از غصه سشد مویش فلک باید رت خیر البشر لختی مدارا کن فلک باید رت خیر البشر تنی بینی اگر بردو شحمالا بغدادت چو مرغ پر شکست در قفس از ظلم صیادش با پا زنجیر رو غل درگر دلش از جور شداد است امام عبد تو میندان کو شبیه رو زمیعادت که امید خلایق تا صف معشر بود سویش فلک باید رد خیر البشر لختی مدارا کن فلک بارا گو پیمبر که غلی جان من است ام بجان غریبو اسم محمد صلوات
السلام عليك يا رسول الله يا نبي الله يا خير خلق الله يا خاتم النبيين السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين ويا إمام المتقين علي بن أبي طالب السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين السلام عليكما أيها الحسن والحسين سبطي نبي الرحمة والسيدي شباب أهل الجنة أجمعين السلام على علي بن الحسين زين العابدين السلام على محمد بن علي الباقر السلام على جعفر بن محمد الصادق السلام عليك يا موسى بن جعفر الكاظم السلام عليك يا علي بن موسى الرضا السلام عليك يا محمد بن علي التقي الجواد السلام عليك يا علي بن محمد الهادي النقي السلام على حسن بن علي العسكري الزكي السلام عليك يا صاحب الزمان يا خليفة الرحمن يا إمام الإنس والجان يا أبا صالح المهدي عجل الله تعالى فرجك وسهل الله تعالى مخرجك وظهورك السلام عليكم يا أهل بيت النبوة ورحمة الله وبركاته أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إنا أعطيناك الكوثر فصل لربك وانحر إن شانئك هو الأبتر صدق الله العلي العظيم وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطاهرين